Welcome to Shift, an exclusive podcast by DSN. I'm your host, Blake Mallen, and this is where high-performing entrepreneurs and experts share their most powerful shifts in mindset, skill set, and strategy to help you accelerate your business and amplify your impact. I challenge you to be present, open your mind, and let the shift begin. Welcome back to Shift. I'm your host, Blake Mallen, and there is just a lot going on across the entire direct selling world today. So much movement, so much news, so much happening. It's an exciting time to be alive. It's an exciting time to be building a business in our space. You know, it's interesting. I got into some conversations with some previous guests. Side note, one of the things I'm loving about this show is we all get to get so much deep insight into the background and the story and the journey and the trials and the triumphs and everything that goes into the journey of becoming the best of the best in the direct selling channel with so many exceptional human beings. And I just want to say, I'm just loving our conversations. I'm loving the energy we're creating. I'm loving the community that we're growing. I'm loving the connection that we're building and the fact that I get a chance to continue the conversations with many of our guests and check in and touch base and share insights with all of you. Look forward to maybe having some of them even back on the show soon. But I was having a conversation with some of our past guests, and a couple of them actually said the same thing. And I just want to echo it because it really hit me hard, and it gave me some even added appreciation for our time together. The conversation was really around a gratitude for how what we're doing with direct selling news, with the Shift podcast, with the growing community around these conversations, to really create a safe space where anybody in the direct selling world, whether you're brand new, just starting your journey, whether you're navigating a season, whether you're leading a massive, thriving global community, whatever stage or phase you're in, we all get to plug in and get just raw, real, relatable, unfiltered access from people that are living it, doing it, and thriving within it to collapse our time in a place that has no other intention other than to serve, other than to show up and help you on your journey, help you grow as a person, help you become the leader you're capable of to really ripple the impact across the channel. And it is unique. And I just want to take a minute to recognize what we're all creating here is unique. The access we have is something special, and I hope you're enjoying our conversations every single week, whether they be the guest dialogue where we get a chance to create those connections with so many amazing leaders, or our time every other week in between like this, where we get to pause and reflect and really turn the education into just listening or learning into knowing, doing, and being, so that we can become all we're meant to be. So anyway, I just wanted to share that story. I was inspired by some of the conversations recently. Look forward to having maybe some of those past guests on the show in the future. We always have room for brand new guests. I can't believe that we've really already had a chance to learn from over 27 different top leaders from 27 different companies across the space and growing. Yet I know there's so many more that are doing some amazing things we'd love to spotlight. So just a reminder, you can nominate over at shiftpodcast.com if there's someone you know that would bring an amazing perspective, something we can all learn from in a future episode. We take those nominations on the website, or feel free to reach out to me directly on my social. I do read and reply to all those personally, and love hearing from all of you. And last week, we just had an awesome conversation. It was one that was heartwarming. It made you smile. It just brought an inspiration and an energy. We had the one and only Ada Caballero on the line, someone who shared her journey, super humble beginnings, and everything she had to overcome to rise at the top. Now, over 30 years of experience in this channel, operating at such a high level, building a global team, really the first on Shift to bring a perspective representing the Hispanic and Latino community and movement that she is building across the world. And I just loved the insights that she gave to all of us so much, really stressing the importance of mentorship and overcoming self-doubt and limiting beliefs. I love the way she shared real stories of her experience and encouraged all of us to really believe in ourselves, to pursue our dreams, and all through the value of going through what we got to go through to build the resilience, the skill set, to make a difference and to build a thriving community. So if you missed the full episode, definitely go back and listen to the conversation. Today we get a chance to reflect a little bit on 3 of the most significant shifts that I got as kind of reoccurring themes in a lot of our dialogue with Ada. Starting with shift number 1. And you had to hear what I heard, because I heard it throughout our entire conversation. And that is really the power of a mentor. Now, I know that word maybe gets overused sometimes, but I think we really need to understand the power and significance of a real mentor in our business and in our lives. You see, a real mentor, it's not just a source of information. A real mentor is a guide. They are a catalyst to you overcoming your self-doubt, helping your self-belief, helping you confront the things you're facing and unlock your potential in a faster, more efficient way. And I love how Ada shared her story of her original mentor when she was, taking care of someone's house, and how she met someone that really inspired her to become more and be more and do more and make the shift to the industry. And how that not only helped her achieve success in her first season, but how she was real with us going through some transition times, some valley experiences, some times where she was even doubting herself. Could she continue in the space? And how another mentor in that moment really instilled belief in her when she needed it most. And you could feel in her story the genuine relationship and connection and appreciation she had with these figures in her life, and how now she is that mentor for so many amazing women, families, individuals, so passionate about anybody wanting more and also helping the underprivileged, the individuals that maybe need to shift out of the environment they're in, and really being that guide for so many individuals today. And I love that story of the power of the mentor, how she had one and now she is one. And it really reminds all of us that a mentor is really the ability to collapse time from where we are right now to where we want to go, who we want to become, what we want to create. A mentor can provide guidance and support, invaluable from their own experience and expertise, from the wounds and the scars having living it. A right mentor, in delivering the right way, it gives us a source of inspiration and motivation when we need it. And we all go through those times where we need that spark. A right mentor can challenge us when we need to be challenged on our own limiting beliefs, on our own stinking thinking, our own box we put ourselves in to create those shifts. A mentor can collapse our ability to learn new skills and what we need to hone when it comes to our traits, practical skills or techniques to grow our business. A mentor can be there to hold us accountable to our own goals and what we say we want. And a mentor can give us access to the power of proximity, the power of a peer group, opening up new circles and new environments that raise our vibration, our frequency, our lid that affects everything we do. A mentor can do all of that. And so all of us should be looking for, intentionally engaging in mentor relationships. So some practical steps. What can we do with all of this? We need a mentor. Where do we find these people? And it starts with, well, number one, seeking them out. A mentor is not just going to walk into your life and say, hey, I'm here to change it. You got to set the intention. You got to actively engage in relationship. And when you find someone you want to learn something from in a specific lane, it doesn't have to be the perfect person in everything. I don't think that person exists, but it can be a mentor in this business, a mentor in building your community, a mentor in entrepreneurship. When you find somebody you really value and you really want to learn from, you got to engage in that conversation and ask, can we have that level of relationship? Set a clear expectation. Number two, once you find that person, establish clear roles and goals of what this means. Hey, I'd love for you to help mentor me. I want to show up to you with my goals, my aspirations. What I need from you is share your experience, unfiltered, real, and raw. Give them permission to speak into your life. Side note, though, if you're going to have these conversations and ask for their time and energy, make sure it's reciprocal. Make sure it's reciprocal. Make sure you're showing up to maximize the time and value what they can bring. And then lastly, set a cadence to engage in communication, whether they be check-ins, and it doesn't always have to be an in-person or even an over video. Those are great if schedule permits, but it can be a simple message, a text, a WhatsApp, a messenger, checking in so you have that permission to engage in an accountability. So let's make the shift. Who is someone in your circle now? You can elevate your relationship, follow those steps, and use them as a way to be that mentor in your life. And what I love is all of us can and should always have mentors to level up. But many of you listening right now, you also can be that mentor for people behind you on their own journey, reaching back and giving the experience you've already had. So it goes both ways. Pay it forward. Let's make that shift. Now, the second shift I got from our conversation with Ada is really around this perspective that the further you go, the further you see. Now, that's my language, not hers. Matter of fact, that was one of my very first favorite quotes at 19, 20 years old when I became an entrepreneur. And I started to realize that, you know what? You may not see everything all at once, and you don't need to. You got to have a faith that it's there, but also a faith that, hey, the further you go, the further you will see. And this really gets to the heart of like how we address and overcome our own limiting beliefs. Because we all have those when we start, don't we? And I absolutely love the story that Ada shared with us about the chandelier. Do you guys remember the story? How she's in a furniture shop with her mentor and happens to see this absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, stunning chandelier, and then notices the price tag of, I think she said $6,000, and how initially at that time in her life, there's no way she's going to spend that much on a light, her disbelief, and how the mentor in that moment had an absolute mind-shifting conversation where he said, well, what if you took away a zero? Would it be worth it then? And she did the math, 6,000 to 600. Well, maybe. When he said, what if you took away another zero? Would it be worth it then? 6,000 to 600 to 60. Well, of course, it would. And that moment right there meant much more than just a conversation about a chandelier. It highlighted with Ada the limiting beliefs we sometimes put around ourselves when it comes to value. And that in a single statement, we can choose to shift our perspective. You see, it's about much more than the story of a chandelier. It's about in our life and everything we do right now, we have those chandelier beliefs. We have boxes around us. We have limitations of what we believe is possible, is just, is what's meant for us. And in every one of those moments, we can kind of take away a zero, metaphorically speaking. Shift our perspective to see things another way. It also really gets to the heart of our own, let's call it self-worth, our own realization that we do deserve more, you are capable of more. And sometimes our own self-worth or our current circumstance creates this lid when you know what? It is possible, but it's okay if you don't see all of it now, if the 6,000 is not possible now. Start with the 60. Move to the 600. Get to the 6,000. And I love how Ada shared her story of in that moment that wasn't possible. And now today she lives that lifestyle where she can afford all the zeros. But the further you go, the further you see. So practical steps. How do we take this chandelier story and apply it to our lives? Well, I think it creates an awareness for everything. It's not just about walking through the furniture store. Where right now in your journey are you creating a limiting belief on what's possible for you? What is too many zeros right now? It starts with an awareness of the limitations we're putting on ourselves, and that's okay. We all have them. Because awareness leads to kind of step 2, and awareness leads to the choice of a shift. How can we choose to look at things from a different perspective? How can we choose to remove the zero when it comes to the thing we want to get better at in our own life? How can we choose to start showing up and taking small steps in a direction we know will compound? And it's okay to find someone to hold us accountable. Seek out conversations like you're doing right now with this show that help create the perspective shifts. We all go through it. And you know what? You're doing the right things by being here and surrounding yourself with this type of information. So let's make the shift. And the last shift I want to talk about is one that we not only heard from Ada, we really felt. And it's really around the importance of leading with your heart. And we could feel that in our time together. For those that watch the show on YouTube, you could see it in her face. It wasn't just a rhetoric. It wasn't just a narrative. It wasn't just a script. You can tell that she shows up, and her superpower is leading with her heart. And that works so well in her communities. One of the things I love about kind of the Hispanic Latin culture is the high value system on family, on love, on leading with the heart. But you guys, that's a human thing. That transcends culture. We can all learn from the example that Ada gave us. When it comes to being heart-driven, that's being empathy first, putting compassion and understanding at the top of our priority list, caring for people and their experiences, meeting them where they are and connecting at a deeper level with your team members, your community, communicating in a way where they are aware you are prioritizing their well-being, how they're doing, how they're feeling. Showing up authentically, a word we've heard a lot from guests on this show, meaning leading from the heart and being honest about your journey. And honesty comes through personal story of the challenges you have to overcome, the pain you've had to face. Sharing the challenge, sharing the pain, sharing the feeling makes it real, makes it relatable, because all of us go through those things. And that authenticity builds the credibility, builds the trust, builds the relatability for you to then lead a community. How leading with heart's about empowerment, about recognizing people where they're at, and not just recognition on the outcome or the achievement, but recognition on the effort, on the activity. We have to recognize the journey, because it's the effort that leads to those results. And that energy, that heart, these things, they create a sense of community. They create a belonging. They create a heart-centered leadership culture that replicates in a ripple to other individuals, and it's something that can be undeniably felt. So we got to embrace this kind of heart-centered approach today, now more than ever, prioritizing empathy, understanding in our interaction, sharing our authentic journey to build that trust, relatability, credibility, and inspiration for your team. And the good news is you know how to do this. It's just being real. The truth is good enough. Share it as it is, and you'll build a movement of people right behind you. We can make that shift. So simple steps we can take on a practical level. Commit to sharing your personal journey, being open about your own experiences, challenges, and successes. Share the stories and the highlights. Engage with other individuals and listen, hear what they share, and care about how you can help. And make sure we recognize and empower our community and our team in the effort and the activity, not just the outcome when it comes to our recognition. So we can make the shift. That's my challenge for you this week. The power of a mentor. Who can you have a mentor conversation with to help you collapse your time on your goals? Who can you have a mentor conversation with that you can pour into and help them accomplish theirs? Do it this week, not next. Don't put it off, now. The further you go, the further you see. What chandelier beliefs do we have on our journey right now? What zeros do we have to drop? How do we start to raise the awareness and make the shifts to get us going further, faster? And let's commit to just adding a little more heart into our communication, our conversation, our intention behind everything that we do. We can make the shift, and that's my challenge for you this week. And as always, you can catch the full episode with Ada and all 27 plus guests from respected companies. If you're not up to speed on all of them, I definitely would recommend backtracking. We're on all the places, all the platforms. You can find us on YouTube if you want to watch. That's kind of my favorite. On Apple, Spotify, Audible if you want to listen. All links can be found at shiftpodcast.com. That's the show website, also where you can send in nominations. And I always truly appreciate to hear your feedback. If you want to drop me a personal line on social, I see it, I answer it, it inspires. And as always, any sort of public comments, ratings, and reviews helps us get these conversations in front of even more people to make an even greater impact. And next week, I will tell you, we have an absolute dynamic couple. I can't wait for you to hear their journey and feel their energy. They met in ministry school 25 years ago, married super young, have had a crazy entrepreneurial journey together, and have rose to the absolute pinnacle of what this direct selling channel represents. After an inspiring personal health transformation, they made the leap. And now 15 years in the channel, they have a massive, thriving, growing community, have impacted hundreds of thousands of people, are published authors, and just dynamic human beings. And they break it all down. They show us the journey. They share their shifts, and they go into topics and themes we've never highlighted on this show. Can't wait to introduce you to them and for you to hear their journey and their experience to help you continue to make the shifts, to grow your team, to elevate your impact, and to collapse the time on your way to your dream lifestyle. So set the reminder on Monday. Make sure you're following the show newsletter. Subscribe at shiftpodcast.com, and can't wait to see you and introduce you to our guests. And until then, let's make the shift.